we have Chris Neal from the Australian Medical Professional Society. Is that right? Yeah. Chris Neal, guys, give it up for Chris.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, and what a privilege to be here. My name's Dr. Christopher Neal. I've been a doctor for 20 years, a cardiologist for 13. I'm here today with other people in red shirts. I'm representing the Australian Medical Professional Society. You can see us all here. So I get inspiration looking into the faces of doctors and nurses and other carers and healers who have stood up for the sacred rights that are in the doctor-patient relationship. We've heard about the right to privacy. We've heard about the right to free informed consent. And our major issue as the Australian Medical Professional Society is that of medical free speech. Right. It is absolutely essential that your doctors have the ability to think critically. And I'm very proud that I represent a whole bunch of doctors who are committed to critical thinking. Critical thinking regarding the management during the pandemic. Let me tell you categorically that the science is against lockdowns in totality, with no exceptions, that the harms vastly outweigh the benefits. Lockdowns were never something that should have happened, and they were never something that was included in the pandemic plans which were already in place in Australia. Lockdowns were a complete novelty, and it is a terrible mistake that the medical community was not thinking straight and accepted these lockdowns which continued on and on. But let me tell you this, we have found our voice. Finally! AMPS is not here to exist in a corner. The Australian Medical Professional Society represents doctors who are willing now to speak out. So I say to doctors everywhere in Australia, nurses and otherwise, stop self-centering. Stop censoring. Because every day people are coming over to our side. Not just in Australia, but all over the world. And let me say this, because truth is truth, and critical thinkers are the best thinkers, that the best thinkers are coming over to our side. All over the world. Now let me say this, the thing which drives me on, having lost my job last year because I refused to submit to the Andrews government's vaccine mandates. But under no circumstances ever is any treatment to be mandatory or coerced. That just does not exist, and there will never be an exception. Unfortunately, because not thinking straight has been such a pervasive problem in my profession, many doctors don't see it the way they should. But let me say this in addition, that when something is experimental, it can never, under any circumstances, be pushed, be administered in a coercive way, and be mandated. Now that is simple fact and truth. What has been done is terrible. And let me come back to what drives me on. Because what drives me on are the stories I hear and things that I've seen, that I've observed in my own patients, the suffering that has been inflicted by these vaccines. I'm frequently in tears when I listen to the stories or read the stories of people who have been vaccine injured, and on top of that, who have not been taken seriously. You know what the most important thing for any doctor to do is to listen, is to take the complaint of a patient seriously. And when I read these stories, I'm frequently in tears. But let me tell you this, when I think of the people that have died after taking this vaccine, just moving over, that's what drives me on, because lives have been lost. And it is time for the medical profession to own up and take a look at what we are calling massive safety signals. The safety signals of this vaccine should raise a massive alarm, as they are doing in every country. So that's really what I wanted to say. Thanks for your support. We are there for you, we're growing, and I'm handing it back. Thank you, everybody.